Hi there, my lovely people. My name's Alex and I run the Autism Acceptance page on Facebook. Obviously, if you're seeing this on Facebook, on my page, you will know this. If you're seeing it on YouTube, then please check out Autism Acceptance. I will hopefully leave a link in the comments section to my Facebook page. Today, I want to talk about the autism fruit salad. Now, you'll have seen me talk a lot, or you will have seen me post a lot of videos and information about this on my page. But I want to talk about my understanding of it and talk about what may be in my own fruit salad. Now, the fruit salad model is a three-dimensional model. As if you see my other videos, you will know, all the videos from Paul Isaacs and Donna Williams. It represents not just condition, but it represents personality type and environment as well. So it takes all these things into account when considering what type of autism someone has, how much autism they have, and yes, I think you can be a little bit autistic in a lot of ways, in some ways, and I know this is controversial. Stephanie Bethany has covered this when she talks about the phenotype and the genotype of on her page, and basically the genotype is all the coding that you have inside you to make you who you are, what colour eyes you are, what sex you are, hair colour, condition, and the phenotype is what is expressed. So the genotype is what is present, what is there, and the phenotype is what is expressed. So not everything is expressed through the phenotype, which is why some people may have autism is genetic. Some people may be born to autistic parents without autism, or vice versa, but they may have certain traits of autism, but not enough to be given a diagnosis. And I think that's quite muddy as well, because the DSM keeps changing, and it's outward observations that dictate or determine who gets a diagnosis, and what is the cutoff from being a neurotypical or non-autistic person with similar traits to someone who is autistic, and actually being autistic yourself. So, what is autism? Autism is an information processing disorder, and that affects everything from the way we take in cognitive information, to the way we take in sensory information, to just the way we, everything that we perceive. But autism isn't the full story. It isn't everything that you are. You are a person. You are not a bag of autism. You are a person. So, what conditions and what environmental effects and what personality types can look like autism and are autism? If you take personality, A lot of autistic people may be quite quite serious, quite rigid. If you take the stereotypical personality thing, um, what you see is what you get, unless they're masking. But yeah, I mean, generally what you see is what you get. And you can get that straight down the line with non-autistic people. You can get non-autistic people who are a bit of a Spock, or you can get autistic people who are a bit of a Spock. Then there's personality types. Personality types can drift off into a personality disorder, but they don't necessarily have to. So you could be generally an anxious person, but if that anxiousness goes into overdrive, you then have the condition of anxiety. It takes over everything, and it's those environmental factors that cause that anxiety. So things like forced exposure can have a knock-on effect and build up anxiety, and that can turn into an anxiety disorder. So say somebody is routinely restrained, a child is routinely restrained and pushed beyond their sensory limits. Say you don't account for sensory difficulties and you just force that child to endure, or you don't even realise that the reason they're resisting is because something is sensorily painful, because of information overload. So they won't go into an environment, so you pick them up and you carry them there, kicking and screaming every single time, and you train them that they don't have any choice. Or you use things like ABA, which is operant conditioning, rewards and punishments. They say punishments aren't used as much, but punishments, I think they're used in different ways. What do you class as a punishment? If somebody won't do something that makes them uncomfortable and you physically force them kicking and screaming into that situation, is that a punishment? If you ignore them when they are trying to self-regulate, or they are trying to do behaviours that actually sometimes make it easier for them to handle doing what they've been told to do by non-autistics, by the ABA practitioners or by their parents or by their teachers or whatever, and you block those things, or you try to train them out of the very things that help them to do what you want them to do. And all you're doing is tackling behaviours on the basis of outside observation. That's not going to be helpful. What you need to understand is the person's fruit salad. The three-dimensional thing of condition, including co-occurring condition, how are they perceiving the information processing, how is information being processed, their personality types, and their mental health. You need to take into account all of it. So for me as a kid, I had a lot of phobias. I have balance and coordination issues. Um, I was very distracted by the physical sensations of my emotional states. So if I was scared or nervous, that would cloud my cognition, because that physical sensation would become a distraction, which would make it harder for me to concentrate on what I needed to do, which would then be a knock-on effect, give a knock-on effect, because I was struggling to concentrate on what I needed to do because I was nervous, then it was doubly hard. So it just feels like struggling in quicksand, and you can't get out of it. You're just sinking deeper and deeper. When what is needed is to take the straws off the camel's back, to say, okay, what is the issue here? We need to get this task done, but something is making you scared. So what's making you scared? Is it something that to do with balance and coordination? Are you scared of falling? Is that physical sensation of your fear of falling clouding your ability to the ability of your cognition, and making you feel more likely that you're going to fall? So my first go-to would be, you're scared of falling, you're scared of your balance. Okay, so what can we do? This is the job we need to do. This is the task we need to get done. So how can we get it done without you needing to be scared that you're going to fall, or you're going to go off balance, or you're going to hurt yourself? If it's short-term memory issues that may come up as well, or as in a different situation where the balancing isn't relevant, or it may come up where the balancing is relevant, you need to be tackling that as well. So all the obstacles need to have solutions, and it all needs to work together as a circuit, and then the task can be done. So asking yourself with your child, what is their blocks? Is it to do with mental health? Is it, so that would, phobias and stuff like that would come up in that. Is it to do with processing, juggling different pieces of information? So how can we break that down? So as well as breaking down the information, we need to make sure that nothing is going to happen to make you feel scared while doing this task. So obviously you won't get the distraction of the physical sensation, the biochemical sensation of your emotional state. And also, what can we do to make sure that if you're struggling to juggle all the information coming in at once, how can we break that down and feed it to you in little bits so that you can do the task? And it's all those things that come together that are important. If you don't look at those things, if you don't look at what the blocks are, then you can't put a blindfold on and say something is blocking. We're just going to poke and dig at it and just blindly bash our way through it. We need to find out what those blocks are and how can we remove them, and what the end result is of the task that needs to be done. So you need to go shopping, say the everyday task. So you need to take your child shopping. They're struggling. How are you going to help them to be able to do that task? What is it for them that is blocking those things that allow them to do the task comfortably and competently. And we need to take those things away. Imagine a camel with a load of straws on its back. And what happens a lot of the time with autistic children and adults sometimes is that instead of taking the load off or taking some of the straws off the camel's back, we try to teach the camel to walk as if they don't have the load on their back, which is counterproductive, and it's going to affect the other dynamics, such as the mental health and the processing. And the task isn't going to get done. And the person is going to be not a happy person. You look at fatalities in autistic adults, and the reason, I think, is because they're not understood, because they're pushed and pulled in all directions, and they can't cope with it. So yeah, the autism fruit salad, other conditions, environment, personality types. As far as personality is concerned, I haven't talked much about this here, but how can you work with the person's personality in order to help them to do the task? Are they quite a jokey? Do they giggle and laugh and joke a lot? Can you use humour? And if you're using humour, a lot of autistic people do have issues with sarcasm and stuff. Some people, if they know that you're using sarcasm, they will get it. So can you use humour? How can you use humour? If they're quite introverted, can you do things more quietly or take a more indirect approach? So you're off to the side and you're talking perhaps in the third person. Perhaps you can show them a video of what you want them to do, or talk to the object that you want them to use. So the cups and the plates have to go. If you want to wash in the dishes, so the cup needs to go in the sink. The cup can't get into the sink on its own. The cup needs to be cleaned. The cup can't be cleaned on its own. So then maybe the person, without the spotlight being shone onto them, would clean the cup. Exposure anxiety is a fear of noticing that you're being noticed. It can create a feeling like you're in the spotlight, and you get that sensation like you just swallowed a bag of lemons. That sensation inside you, whether it's embarrassment or just that kind of feeling. But again, it's a physical sensation that is distracting. So these are all things we need to think about. Don't lump everything together and just call it the autism. Break things down. Okay, my lovely people, I hope this has helped. Love and peace to you all, and remember, you're stronger than your struggles. Bye for now.